You are watching SADPIE Enterprises.
Hello, everybody. We are your hosts, Jaehoon King,
John Mason.
Kevin Delgado.
And Ray Chang.
and again, welcome to this episode of Our Ways of Life by SADPIE Enterprise. In the first part of our two-episode series of Korean American history and heritage, we took a very brief overview on Korean American history and how it affects us today. Now, in this episode, we'll be looking at a special and unique part of Korean culture as a way to further appreciate their role and the diversity they bring to our society today. Without further ado, please, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy this episode as we delve into the richness of this wonderful culture that is from Korea. Now, when we start talking about cultures, one of the first things that always comes to mind is the holidays and festivals, since there are times when families, communities, and people in general are able to come together and happily celebrate with beautiful, long-standing traditions. Holidays and festivals are just completely essential to shaping each and every single one of us and our ethnicity groups in America today. And that is certainly not different at all when we are talking about the Korean Americans. As we are speaking, yesterday was just a day on which one of the largest Korean festivals was celebrated, which was the Korean New Year's, or as Koreans like I refer to it, Seollal. It only seems fit and proper that we start by looking at this specific festival right now and some of the activities or foods involved with it. Mr. Kevin Delgado, would you like to give us an insight into this beautiful holiday?
So Salal is basically the Korean version of the Chinese New Year. During this festival, which is typically celebrated for 3 days, there is so much that happens, including family gatherings, ancestral rituals, and much more other customs. This is a time that represents to the Korean people, like the Chinese, for their Lunar New Year celebrations, a time for renewal and a time to show gratitude and reflect on what was achieved last year and what is awaiting them in their future. So, as I mentioned, ancestral rituals are a large part of the celebration, which actually has a name, being Sharye. In Sharyes, families would come and gather at the grave sites of their ancestors or just at altars that they have at home. And then female relatives would prepare food that would then be served by the male relatives to the ancestors. Afterwards, relatives of both genders would take part in the final step called yumbok, in which they would eat the food that they have served to their ancestors, which symbolizes to the Korean people their ancestors blessing them for the upcoming year. The food that is prepared for Sharye can vary by region, but most common ones include rice, soup, meat, seafood, liquor, fruit, and vegetables. But a particularly special one is called dolguk, which is a rice cake soup and is a very common dish that is eaten by Koreans throughout the year, but it has a very special importance on Solal as it represents aging. Other than taking part in Sharye, younger Korean family members would also perform what is called sebai, which is a traditional bow they do towards the elders to show respect and wish them good fortune. The elders would then give blessings and gifts like money to the younger generation of family before them, similar to how Chinese exchange red envelopes on the Lunar New Year.
Yes, and there is so much more to this spectacular Korean New Year, like games such as playing cards and what is called Ghost Stop or Nori. But we would be here all day if we keep talking about Seoul specifically. But now moving on from Seoul, what are other Korean festivals uh the Korean Harvest Festival called Chuseok, which is also referred to as the Korean Thanksgiving Day, which is similar to Seollal, where families express gratitude but towards the year's harvest, and they would eat special foods like songpyeon, which are just rice cakes. There's also what is called Dano or Sudetnao, which is celebrated on the fifth day of the fifth month in the lunar year. And that commemorates the start of summer with activities like washing your hair with iris water. And there's also a Buddha's birthday, commemorating the birth of Gautama Buddha with colorful lantern displays, temple ceremonies, and acts of charity. And Gwangbokjeol, also called Liberation Day, which celebrates the day Korea was liberated by Japanese colonial rule on August 15th, 1945. And also, to add on to this, there are some notable festivals that the Korean people celebrate, which the Chinese people also celebrate, like Jyeongjil on the ninth day of the ninth month, which is basically their version of this Chinese festival called the Double Ninth Festival, which is one of the lesser known festivals during which extended families would go to ancestral graves to clean them and lay out food offerings like fruit, which are then eaten by families. And in the Korean version of this, people would eat these chrysanthemum leaves and pancakes, but they would also participate in outdoor activities like carrying dogwood, climbing hills or mountains for picnics, since the festival is meant to celebrate the idea of good health. And to top all this off, a fun fact actually is that as a result of all this preparation that goes into festivals and holidays like Chotseo or the Korean Thanksgiving, like such as preparing food, setting everything up, people have this thing called post-holiday trauma. This means that the Korean people, they are exhausted and overwhelmed by celebrating after so many things like driving long distances, enjoying too much amazing food, or having to deal with so much cleanup after all the relatives who came to celebrate have left.
So basically, a lot of these festivals focus on the happy passing of time with family and respect towards ancestors alongside good health and good fortune. Now that I think that this is enough discussion for the festivals, I also want to ask another question. What we've mentioned about these Korean festivals and holidays touch the surface level of what they are, and I really highly recommend diving deeper into looking at these individuals when time allows. But moving on, I think everyone can agree that we can't discuss culture without discussing food, as it makes up a huge part of these ethnic culture, just how these festivals do. So, what exactly defines Korean cuisine, and can we put an exact definition on it? What are some of the delicacies that the Koreans eat?
Yeah, so Korean cuisine can have many different things that define it or separate it from other different kinds of cuisines from different cultures. First of all, one of the main key aspects of Korean cuisine is fermentation, which is used for a variety of different foods like kimchi, which is a kind of vegetable dish, doenjang, a soybean paste, and gochujang, which is a spicy red chili paste. It can also be used for different types of picked vegetables. Korean cuisine is also known for having bold and spicy flavors, which are achieved by using ingredients like chili peppers, ginger, garlic, and other aromatic ingredients. Um, there is also a balance of flavors and textures, which Koreans also strive to achieve with their food by using seasonings like sesame oil, soy sauce, and vinegar. Now, um, now on a daily or common basis, foods that are typically eaten are kimchi, which I previously mentioned, bibimbap, bulgogi, japchae, and samgyeopsal. Some of these foods may seem recognizable, but if not, bibimbap is a popular rice dish that includes a variety of seasoned vegetables and meat, alongside a fried egg and spicy gochujang sauce. Um, there's a lot of customization freedom with bibimbap, and it looks very colorful, which also applies to japchae. But instead, japchae is a uh, stir-fried noodle dish using sweet potato starch instead of rice. Bulgogi is this kind of uh, thinly sliced marinated beef that is either grilled or stir fried and has a nice sweet and savory flavor that pairs well with foods like rice and lettuce. And finally, samgyeopsal is these thick slices of pork belly that are grilled at the table and is served similar to how bulgogi is, that is, with lettuce leaves, sliced garlic, and many other condiments.
I mean, all this food sounds very delectable and good indeed, but now how about some of the different foods that are eaten during Korean festivals specifically? Are they any different from the foods that Koreans would typically eat?
Well, many of the foods that are eaten on Korean holidays and festivals are actually also foods that would be eaten pretty typically by Korean people. For example, as we've mentioned before, there's a dish called dokguk, rice cake soup made with thinly sliced rice cakes and a clear broth with other ingredients like seaweed, sliced eggs, green onions, and it's eaten during Solal. This food is still typically eaten outside of Solal and even on a person's lunar calendar birthday. And something funny is that some children would eat multiple bowls of this rice cake soup in order to grow more than 1 year on their birthdays. And besides Dokguk, there also is jeon, which is a variety of savory Korean pancakes eaten on Korean Thanksgiving Day, and songpyeong, which is another rice cake dish that is just rice cakes with sweet fillings like honey or red bean paste. And it's also enjoyed by many Korean families during Korean Thanksgiving as well. And yet another big traditional dish eaten is yakshik, another one more rice cake dish that is a sweet rice cake made using glutinous rice, dry fruit, nuts, and sweetened with honey or brown sugar, kind of similar to songpyeong. And now all festive Korean foods are not just rice cakes, but there are also many other kinds like yakgwa, which are these deep fried honey cookies that are made with wheat flour, sesame oil, honey, and ginger. Have this nice sweet fragrance. All these foods are eaten during times of celebration for their significance and let alone their delicious taste, as these foods represent to the Korean people ideas like good fortune, bountiful harvest, gratitude towards ancestors, and prosperity and happiness.
Oh, wow. Thank you, John. And all this food sounds very delicious and delectable. And it would be fantastic to have all of our members here to be able to try them one day. Being a Korean, it's a very phenomenal, I wouldn't say phenomenal, but very joyous experience to experience all of these different dishes of Korean culture and all of the different spices and also the different delicacies that are in this culture as a Korean. But now let's move on to a third and final major component that constitutes a large portion of any culture, which is media and entertainment. All people need for some entertainment is not to get bored, right? So let's take a quick look at some of the different forms of entertainment we get with Korean culture, shall we? Ray, would you like to have an input for this question, of which I have presented for our audience and also us?
Okay, so to start off, one of the largest and most well-known forms of this entertainment is Korean drama, which are commonly referred to as K-dramas, which are just these television series that originated from South Korea and have gained a lot of popularity both nationally and internationally. These different drama series can contain multiple episodes and can cover a huge range of different genres like romance, comedy, historical fiction, and fantasy. And what makes K-dramas so popular are the high production quality, the compelling storytelling, and the talented acting behind each one and every of these shows, which makes for a very good watching experience for an audience of different ages. Alongside other Korean entertainment, and K-drama has had a significant role in promoting Korean culture and is a national pride, and it contributes to the spread of this thing called Hallyu, or the Korean wave, which is basically a term used to refer to the global popularity of South Korea's cultural economy and exporting pop culture, entertainment, music, and movies. And so some examples of K-drama include The Descendants of the Sun, which focuses on the romance between a special forces captain and a surgeon who met in a fictional country called Earth, which is ridden with war. And there's also this other one called Goblin, which focused on a quest of a goblin and finding his bride to end his immortal life, Crash Landing on You, and finally, My Love from the Star. And we really highly recommend those who are listening to take a look at these drama series if you are interested.
Now, besides K-drama, there's another thing that a lot of people already know about, which makes up a large part of Korean entertainment today, that being Korean pop music, commonly referred to as K-pop. K-pop can encompass a wide variety of styles like pop, hip hop, R&B, and electronic dance music, otherwise known as EDM, and it is characterized by its catchy melodies, choreography, and the visually exciting music videos. It has been a very large part, arguably even larger than that of Korean drama, had and what it had in contributing to the Korean wave of culture. Two notable K-pop groups and artists are BTS, who are also called the Bangtan Boys, and Blackpink, who have both become very popular internationally and have gained very massive followings through their songs and music videos, which have powerful performances, meaningful lyrics, and social messages. There are also many more large K-pop groups like EXO, Twice, GOT7, and Red Velvet, who have also been very successful in captivating their audiences around the world with their music and performances. And if you listen to our look at their music videos, you get a sense of that kind of performance that people really enjoy about their music.
And to wrap up this discussion, there is one more interesting part that makes up Korean culture, that being esports, or also called electronic sports. Many of you likely heard of this already, but it refers to competitive video gaming that is organized into different professional leagues and tournaments. And South Korea is actually one of the global leaders in esports, with a thriving esports industry and very huge fan base. Esports competitors would take part in games such as League of Legends, StarCraft, and Overwatch, which are especially popular among those in South Korea, and these competitors are treated like celebrities and are able to earn lucrative sponsorships and endorsements.
Now, this was just a brief overview over the different forms of entertainment that Korean people enjoy. And there's definitely much more to what we covered, like always, as we aim to introduce to you these different rich cultures that you have or may become interested in them and seek out to learn more on their own. So, on the topic of the different kinds of foods or cultures that we have spoken on, and as a Korean, I would say that this is just a note from me, but I would say that this is a big thank you to all of our podcast members here and also this entire community as a whole. I now really do feel like we're being represented here at King and also beyond, but I also feel very proud that my country has gone so far and also come so far as to have their culture just be spread around the entire globe and especially America, and just seeing all these people care about this beautiful tiny little country in East Asia. I mean, it's wonderful. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of SADPIE's Enterprise, Our Ways of Life series. As we mentioned in our previous episode, we will cover the immigration history and culture of Japanese Americans next week. So please make sure to tune in for that. This has been your host,
John Mason.
Kevin Delgado.
And Great Tang.
and Taehoon King, covering the unique, compelling Korean culture, including its festivals, holidays, foods, and entertainment. And we hope to see you for our next episode. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are.